guys, and welcome to our holiday of the week. This week, for our holiday of the week, I'd like to start with a question for you. What does the word hero mean to you? When you hear the word hero, who are some people or maybe organizations or movements that you might think of? Maybe you think of Superman, maybe you think of like superheroes, maybe you think of firefighters, maybe you think of your mom or your dad, or whatever grown-ups that you have at home. Maybe that's who you think of as a hero. Someone that I think of as a hero is Martin Luther King Jr. On Monday, we don't have school. And the reason we don't have school is because we will be celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And I would like to tell you all about him today. And then after this, you will listen to a song all about his life. So, Martin Luther King Jr. is one of the biggest heroes of the civil rights movement. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of awesome leaders and heroes in this movement, but Martin Luther King Jr. is a man that was really known as the main leader or spearhead of this movement. So if you don't know what the civil rights movement is, the civil rights movement is an era from the 1960s where people fought for justice and for peace. The justice being fought for was equality between white people and people of other races, particularly African Americans. Prior to the civil rights movement, in a lot of ways, African Americans were completely segregated from white Americans in the ways that they weren't allowed to drink from the same drinking fountains. They weren't allowed to sit in the same part of the bus. They'd have to sit in the back of the bus. They weren't allowed to even go to the same schools as white children. So not only were they separated, often the resources or the things that was given to them, like their water fountains or their pools or their schools, were often in worse condition. And the reason they were separated like this is because of judging people by their skin color. And this used to happen a lot in the 1960s, and it was enforced by law. It was segregation. That's what the civil rights movement was fighting against, because people knew deep down in their heart that it wasn't right to treat someone differently than you based on the color of your skin. So Martin Luther King is one of the people that really fought to make sure that African Americans were treated the same as white Americans. So that's why he's so important to not only the African American community, but all communities. They brought to bring fairness to our country, and I think that's a really important thing. Martin in particular, he led marches, he made speeches such as his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. He worked with government officials and movement leaders to really make this happen and make sure that things were fair. He led a march on Washington where there was hundreds of thousands of people that came with him to the capital of the United States, and they marched with him and had a peaceful time where they said, listen, this isn't right that we are treated differently than our fellow white citizens. And there was lots of people of all races at that march. There was people that were Latino, there was Asian Americans, there were white Americans that all came together this march and said, listen, we can't do this anymore. We shouldn't be treating people differently based on the color of their skin. And that's really something that's supposed to be celebrated, and I think that's wonderful. So we owe Martin a huge thank you for his heroic actions during the civil rights movement, and that's why we celebrate his birthday on Monday. When I think about the Positivity Project and what traits we have, I mean, Martin was brave, Martin had humility, Martin was kind. He embodies so many, I would say almost all of the 24 Positivity Project character traits. He is just that amazing. He really fought for what was right, and he fought for equality. And so that's why we really look up to him. And in the next slide, you will be watching a little song about him. Obviously, this is music class, so you'll be listening to a song about him and his life. And you will be, if you're in 3rd through 5th grade, you will be learning a little bit about how Stevie Wonder kind of mixes in with Martin Luther King. So I hope that you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.